Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, Chapter 2 of Shadows Rising by Madeline Rue. This is going to be weird, because all the trolls are going to have British accents, but what ifs? Let's get! Meanwhile, in Nazmir, some nasty bitch called Apari was currently standing over another troll as they lay dying. You chose death, Seshi, when you chose her. Which? The troll's eyes then flashed bright one last time before going blank, because he was dead, and the hungry dread tick, sat hunched on Apari's shoulders, started to get a little bit excited. Not now, Death. One sip of his blood and you'll be flat as a coin, all your insides on your outside. The body emanated a foul odour as the skin shriveled, the muscles contorted, and a strange black bile flowed from several orifices. Another troll, Teo, Apari's most trusted general, then approached. This is how it will be. This is how the traitor queen will die. Wretchweed and riverbud root. My own creation. A purge to remove the rot at the heart of this great land, sister. Apari knew a great deal about herbs and weeds, mostly through personal experience. After receiving a nasty injury to her leg, she tried pretty much everything to relieve the pain. And although nothing worked, she gained quite a bit of insight. For example, in the right quantity, wretchweed could be used to purge someone's system of some bad food, or a bit of poison or something. But when dried, powdered and mixed with riverbud, it was lethal, and the death wasn't exactly a barrel of laughs. She deserves to suffer. Where will it be done? Before the whole of her precious horde. She has chosen them over her own people, now let her die among them. Ancestors be willing. Ancestors be willing. There is more. The Pale Rider is here. He arrived with an unliving elf. They'd be anxious to speak with you. So, they had come. Things truly were in motion. Apari had never felt so alive. So she limped her way out of the cave to greet their guests. Pale Rider, you are welcome here, but in 2 hours we depart. We do not stay long, and the sun never sets twice on our camps. A wise precaution. We have come to discuss our arrangement. Might we speak elsewhere, or is this what passes for courtesy in your swamp? No, not courtesy, but a promise. Nathanos raised an eyebrow whilst the mysterious armoured lady sighed impatiently. Apari could tell that she was extremely dangerous, so she continued. A promise. A vow to my mother, who drank the venom of Shadra, and to all of Zandalar who deserve better than a crown and gods who care not for them. Shadra is gone, Yasmir is gone too, but poison lingers. Poison in my heart, and soon, poison in the traitor queen's veins. Meanwhile, back in Orgrimmar, Zekhan, who had decided not to rudely listen in on Thrall and Yucca's conversation, had casually fallen into step behind the leader of the Darkspear trolls, Rokan, instead. And he was kind of using Rokan's shadow as a concealment of sorts. He'd always been a shadow, really. First his father's, then Saurfang's, and as Rokan's shadow, he crept along, looking for something interesting to occupy his time. He passed by a drum circle with a trio of dancers. He watched as Gazlo joined that drum circle and did a little dance of his own, and noted how many of the other Mighty Horde members were starting to bust some shapes as well. Everybody seemed to be having a whale of a time, except Talanji. She and her Zandalari contingent stood apart from the rest, looking like a right miserable bunch. Zekhan wasn't exactly surprised by that though. The Horde Council had welcomed her warmly, and yet so far, her response had been a bit shitty. She was pretty though. Zekhan couldn't deny that, with her sexy tusks. It was at that moment that Zekhan noticed that her contingent seemed to be one servant lighter than it was earlier, and sensed an opportunity. May I be of service, Your Majesty? How could you possibly be of service? Your entourage be looking a little light. If you need an errand run or a fresh cup of wine, you are spying on me now. Oh, balls. This had backfired. Zekhan could already hear the lecture Thrall was inevitably going to give him, so he threw his arms up in surrender. But as he did, he suddenly lost his balance and fell backwards into Talanji's missing servant, who had returned with a goblet of wine. And that goblet of wine went flying through the air, hit the ground and splashed over the hem of the Zandalari queen's gown. Clumsy knob! That was the queen's wine. Just a mistake. He meant no harm. But Zekhan had stopped listening to the queen, because the ugly splotch of spilled wine on her dress was turning black, and the puddle left behind on the ground smelled distinctly of death. Whatever it wasn't wine. What you be serving her? Wine. Just wine. What's the matter, you never seen black wine that smells of death before? The servant, who now looked extremely sweaty, then yanked a dagger from under his tunic. Queen Talanji, behind me! Suddenly, a throwing axe whizzed past Zekhan's face, and although that narrowly missed the servant, Thrall then whizzed past shortly afterwards. However, the former war chief reached the assassin a moment too late, because they'd already put their dagger to use, jamming it into their own stomach.
Who sent you? Speak!
She will know our bite. And then he was dead. He was Zandalari. One of my own, but how?
All your people must be held and questioned. There is never just one assassin.
Question your own people.
I assure you.
You can assure me nothing. Not ships, not soldiers, not even my own personal safety. You do not need me here. Zandalar, my home, will always need me, so that is where I will be. All eyes followed as the Zandalari queen and her peeps stormed off again. All eyes, Zekhan noted, except Thrall's. And Zekhan himself was a little bit bothered by something. Everything had happened so quickly, but he couldn't help but fixate on the moment when he'd knocked the wine over. He felt certain his feet had been planted firmly on the ground, and he was pretty sure something or someone had shoved him. Rakan then appeared, by his side, smirking. "You did good, boy. Those be the reflexes of Kimball." Rakan's sentiments were then echoed by even more people in the surrounding crowd, yelling words like hero, but Zekhan didn't like that at all. He wasn't a hero, just a boy from the jungles. Whatever the hell just happened, he sure as hell couldn't take credit for it. And we're leaving it there! Lots of mystery and intrigue afoot. I like it. I also bloody love the aesthetic of Nazmir, so I'm glad we get to go there a bit in this story. As usual, link in the description if you're interested in buying this book. Also, there's links to my Discord server and my Patreon page too. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!